What if the reason the right person hasn't entered your life yet is not delay, not rejection, but divine preparation? What if, right now, while you think nothing is happening, Allah is quietly shaping your heart for something sacred? Because here is something many people don't realize. Before Allah changes your situation, He changes you. Before He sends a meaningful relationship, He refines the heart that will carry it. That restlessness you felt turning into patience, that loneliness slowly becoming peace, that shift from desperation to trust. These are not random emotions. This is Allah preparing you in ways you cannot see yet. Sometimes we focus so much on when someone will come that we miss what Allah is doing within us before they arrive. And the truth is, when Allah prepares two hearts first, the meeting is not just emotional. It carries barakah, stability, and a peace that does not easily break. So if you feel your heart changing lately, becoming calmer, wiser, more selective, more connected to Allah, don't ignore it. This might not be waiting. This might be preparation. Before the blessing arrives, Allah refines the heart. Allah does not place something precious into hands that are not ready to protect it. And He does not place something pure into a heart that is still careless. When Allah wants good for you, He does not always send it immediately. First, He works on you. He softens your heart. He makes you more aware of your actions. He helps you see your own mistakes without feeling defensive. You start caring more about your intentions. You begin asking yourself, am I doing this to please people or to please Allah? That change is powerful. Slowly, the things that once distracted you start losing their shine. Late-night empty conversations no longer excite you. Flirting for attention feels uncomfortable. You don't feel proud of being desired by everyone anymore. Instead, you start valuing respect, modesty, and sincerity. You become more careful with your words, more careful with your time, more careful with your heart, and you may not even realize it, but this is Allah refining you. Sometimes we make dua for a beautiful relationship, but we still have jealousy in our heart. We still react with anger quickly. We still seek validation from others. We still ignore our prayers. If Allah were to give us that blessing in that state, we might damage it with our own weaknesses. So out of His mercy, He fixes the heart first. He teaches you patience before giving you love. He teaches you self-respect before giving you companionship. He teaches you emotional control before giving you responsibility. Think about it carefully. When your heart becomes calmer, when your standards become cleaner, when your connection with Allah becomes stronger, that is not coincidence. That is preparation. Allah is polishing your heart like someone polishing a precious mirror, so that when the right person stands in front of you, you can see clearly. You won't be blinded by emotions. You won't be confused by temporary charm. You will recognize what is good for you, and most importantly, you will be able to protect it. Because a blessing is not only about receiving it, it is about keeping it. And Allah, in His love for you, prepares your heart so that when the blessing comes, it stays with barakah. When Allah is protecting you, your standards begin to rise. There was a time when you were impressed very easily. A few kind words, a little attention, someone replying quickly to your messages, and your heart would start hoping. You confused interest with intention. You confused attraction with commitment. But then something begins to change. You no longer feel excited just because someone shows you attention. You start asking deeper questions. Does this person pray? Do they speak respectfully? How do they treat their parents? Are they serious about marriage or just enjoying the moment? And suddenly, not everyone qualifies anymore. This is not pride, this is protection. When Allah is protecting you, He doesn't always block people from approaching you. Sometimes He simply raises your standards so high that you are no longer impressed by what is beneath you. You begin to value character more than chemistry, Deen more than looks, consistency more than sweet talk. You notice red flags quickly. You feel uncomfortable when boundaries are crossed. You don't laugh at inappropriate jokes the way you used to. That discomfort is mercy. Allah sometimes removes attraction from your heart toward people who are not written for you. He makes what is wrong feel heavy instead of exciting. He makes what is temporary feel empty instead of thrilling. And because of that, you walk away more easily. There may be moments when you wonder, why am I becoming so selective? Why is it harder to find someone? But what you don't see is that Allah is filtering for you. He is saving you from emotional damage, where He is saving you from settling. He is saving you from attaching your heart to someone who cannot carry it with responsibility. Rising standards are not about demanding perfection. They are about knowing your worth as a believer. When you understand that you are a servant of Allah, you stop accepting behavior that disrespects your faith. You stop entertaining conversations that lead nowhere halal. You stop giving your time to people who are not serious about building something blessed. And here is something beautiful. When your standards rise for the sake of Allah, Allah sends someone who meets those standards without you begging for it. Because when you refuse what is less than what you deserve, Allah sees that trust, and He rewards trust. So if lately you feel less impressed, more careful, more selective, don't think something is wrong with you. Maybe Allah is protecting you from what looks good, but is not good for you. Maybe He is raising your standards because the right person will meet them. And when they do, you will not have to lower your values to keep them. True readiness begins when loneliness turns into contentment. There is a stage many people pass through quietly, and they don't even realize how important it is. At first, loneliness feels heavy. You see others getting married, building relationships, sharing their lives, and your heart sometimes feels left behind. You wonder when your turn will come. You question the delay. You may even feel incomplete. But then, slowly, something begins to shift. You start enjoying your own company. Silence stops feeling scary. When you no longer feel the need to constantly message someone just to fill the emptiness. You begin to build a routine that does not depend on another person. Your salah becomes more consistent. Your connection with Allah becomes more personal. You start investing in your growth, your health, your character, your purpose. And without realizing it, loneliness starts turning into contentment. This is a powerful transformation because desperation often leads people toward the wrong relationships. When someone feels empty, they sometimes accept anyone who offers attention. They ignore red flags. They compromise their values. They rush decisions simply to escape being alone. But when you are content, you are no longer choosing out of fear. You are choosing with clarity. Contentment does not mean you don't want companionship. It means you are not emotionally dependent on it for your happiness. You still make dua. You still hope. But your peace is not on hold until someone arrives. And that is emotional maturity. When you are content alone, you bring stability into a relationship instead of neediness. You give love without clinging. You communicate without insecurity. You trust without constant fear of abandonment. Because your foundation is already strong through your relationship with Allah. Also, when you are content, you stop comparing yourself with others. You understand that everyone has a different timeline written by Allah. Some people marry early and face tests later. Others wait longer and receive ease afterward. Comparison fades because trust grows. And this trust is beautiful. You start seeing your single period not as a delay, but as a gift, a time to learn, a time to strengthen your Deen, a time to understand yourself, a time to heal from past hurts, a time to prepare emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Because once marriage or a serious relationship begins, life becomes shared. Responsibilities increase. Decisions are no longer just about you. Allah, in His wisdom, sometimes gives you this period of independence so you can become strong enough to share your life without losing yourself. And here is something many people don't realize. The right person is often attracted to stability, not perfection, but stability. Someone who knows who they are, someone who is emotionally balanced, someone who doesn't expect another human to fix everything inside them. So if you feel lately that you are calmer alone, more focused, less desperate, seem more peaceful, don't think something is missing. Perhaps something important has already been built inside you. True readiness is not when you cannot wait anymore. True readiness is when you can wait peacefully because you trust Allah completely. And when companionship finally comes to a content heart, it does not feel like rescue. It feels like barakah added to an already grateful life. The most powerful dua is when desperation turns into trust. There is a stage in life when your dua comes from urgency. You feel the emptiness, the waiting, the uncertainty, and you call upon Allah with deep emotion. Sometimes you cry. Sometimes you repeat the same request again and again. You ask quickly because your heart feels restless, and there is nothing wrong with that. Allah loves when His servants call upon Him honestly. Even desperation, when directed to Allah, is better than seeking comfort in the wrong places. But as time passes, something very beautiful can happen. Your dua begins to change. You still ask Allah for companionship, for a righteous spouse, for a blessed relationship. But now your words carry calmness. Instead of saying, Ya Allah, give it to me now, you begin saying, Ya Allah, give it to me when it is best for me. That shift may seem small, but spiritually it is huge. Because desperation focuses on timing. Trust focuses on wisdom. You start realizing that Allah sees what you cannot see. He knows who will bring peace into your life and who will bring chaos. He knows what conversations never happened that could have hurt you. He knows what situations He quietly protected you from. And slowly your heart relaxes. You begin to understand that delay is not rejection. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is preparation. Sometimes it is simply Allah arranging details you cannot yet understand. This is Tawakkul, true reliance on Allah. And when Tawakkul enters your dua, it changes everything. You stop feeling anxious after making dua. You stop checking constantly if something has happened yet. You stop comparing your timeline with others. Instead, you feel a quiet certainty. If it is written for me, it will come. And if it doesn't come, Allah has something better. This kind of trust strengthens your heart in ways you cannot imagine. You become more patient with people, more hopeful during delays, more grateful even while waiting, because your faith is no longer based on immediate results. It is based on belief in Allah's perfect wisdom. Also, when your dua matures like this, your priorities mature too. You don't just ask for someone attractive or successful. You ask for someone righteous, someone kind, someone who will help you stay close to Allah, someone who will protect your peace and your akhirah. Your requests become deeper because your understanding becomes deeper. And here is something powerful to remember. Allah always answers dua, but the answer may come in 3 ways. He gives you exactly what you asked for. He delays it for the right time, or he replaces it with something better. When you truly accept this, your heart rests. So if you feel your dua becoming calmer lately, if you feel less desperate and more trusting, don't think your hope is fading. Your faith is growing. Because the most powerful dua is not the loudest one. It is the one made with a heart that fully trusts Allah, even before the answer arrives. And when trust reaches that level, what Allah gives you often carries more barakah than you ever imagined. Allah heals old attachments. Before writing a new love, sometimes we don't realize how much space the past is still taking in our hearts. A previous attachment, a broken relationship, a disappointment, or even someone we never officially had but emotionally held on to. These things can stay inside us longer than we expect. And when we carry those feelings forward, they quietly affect how we see new people. We compare, we doubt, we fear being hurt again. We hold back emotionally. We sometimes even punish a good person for the mistakes of someone else. That is why, before Allah writes a new love story for you, He often heals the old chapters first. At first, healing can feel uncomfortable. Memories may resurface. Regret may come. You may replay conversations in your mind. You may wonder what you could have done differently. You may question why it didn't work. But slowly, the intensity begins to fade. The person who once occupied your thoughts daily becomes less present. Their name no longer triggers the same emotions. You stop checking their life. You stop imagining what if. You begin accepting what is. This is healing, even if it feels slow. Allah heals in layers. Sometimes He removes the attachment first, then teaches acceptance, then finally gives peace. And this process is mercy. Because if you carried strong emotional attachment into a new relationship, it could create insecurity. You might struggle to trust fully. You might hold emotional walls too high. You might expect the worst even from someone sincere. Allah wants your heart to be free when new love enters. Not perfect, but peaceful. And healing doesn't only mean forgetting a person. It also means learning from the experience. You become wiser about red flags. You understand your own emotional needs better. You recognize unhealthy patterns earlier. You grow emotionally stronger. This growth protects you moving forward. Sometimes we think losing someone means failure, but often it means Allah saved you from a future you could not see. A future with more pain, more compromise, more distance from Allah. What feels like heartbreak now may actually be divine redirection. And as healing happens, something else changes too. You begin forgiving, not necessarily reconnecting, not approving what happened, but releasing the emotional burden. Because holding anger hurts your heart more than theirs. Forgiveness brings lightness. You sleep better. You think clearer. You become emotionally available again. And most importantly, your heart becomes softer, not harder. Because the goal of healing is not to become cold. It is to become wise but still capable of sincere love. And when Allah sees your heart has healed enough, when resentment has reduced, when comparison has faded, when emotional balance has returned, then He may open the door to something new. a love that feels calmer, cleaner, more aligned with your faith, more stable. So if lately you feel old attachments weakening, if memories don't hurt like before, if you are finally letting go, don't think you are losing something. You may actually be making space. Because before Allah writes a new love in your life, He often clears the heart, so that love can enter with barakah, not baggage, becoming the right person. Before expecting the right person. Many people spend a lot of time thinking about the kind of person they want. Someone kind, patient, practicing, respectful, emotionally mature. Someone who will support them, understand them, and bring peace into their life. And there is nothing wrong with having standards. Islam encourages us to seek good character and strong faith in a spouse. But sometimes we forget to ask a very important question. Am I becoming that kind of person myself? Because a healthy relationship is not built only on finding the right person. It is built on two people who are both working on themselves for the sake of Allah. Before Allah brings someone important into your life, He often starts shaping you first. He teaches you patience through waiting. He teaches you emotional control through tests. He teaches humility through mistakes. He teaches responsibility through small daily choices. These lessons are not random. They are preparation. You may notice that you start reflecting more on your behavior. You become more careful with your words. You realize how powerful tone, respect, and honesty are in communication. You start controlling anger instead of reacting quickly. You begin apologizing more easily when you are wrong. This is growth. You also start strengthening your relationship with Allah. Your prayers become more consistent. You become more conscious about halal and haram. You lower your gaze more carefully. You protect your heart from unnecessary emotional attachments. Because deep down, you understand that if you want a righteous spouse, you must also strive to be righteous. And this self-work is not only spiritual, it is emotional too. You learn how to listen, not just speak. You learn how to compromise without losing your values. You learn how to manage stress, finances, responsibilities, and time. You understand that marriage is not only romance, it is teamwork, patience, and daily effort. Allah prepares you for that reality. Sometimes people rush into relationships without this preparation. They expect love alone to solve everything, but without character, communication, and faith, even strong attraction can struggle. That is why Allah's preparation is mercy. When you work on yourself first, you bring stability into a relationship instead of expecting the relationship to create stability for you. And here is something beautiful to remember. Somewhere, the person written for you may also be working on themselves. They may also be making du'a for a righteous spouse. They may also be correcting their character, improving their deen, learning patience. Allah aligns hearts that are moving toward Him. So instead of only asking, "Where is the right person?" begin asking, "Am I becoming ready for them?" This mindset changes everything. It removes desperation and replaces it with purpose. It shifts your focus from searching outward to growing inward. And when two people who have both worked on themselves finally meet, the relationship often carries a different kind of peace. Less drama, less insecurity, more understanding, more barakah. So if you feel lately that Allah is pushing you toward self-improvement, toward better habits, toward stronger faith and better character, don't see it as pressure. See it as preparation. Because before Allah entrusts you with someone's heart, He prepares your own heart to carry that trust with care. Tests that strengthen the heart before it holds another. Sometimes before something beautiful enters your life, you go through a phase that feels heavy. You may experience disappointment, rejection, misunderstandings, or moments where you question why things are not working out the way you hoped. And in those moments, it is easy to think something is wrong with you. You may ask yourself, why does it seem easy for others, but difficult for me? Why do doors open for some people while mine remain closed? But often, these tests are not punishment. They are preparation, because holding another person's heart is a responsibility. Marriage, companionship, and deep emotional connection require patience, emotional stability, forgiveness, and wisdom. These qualities rarely develop in comfort alone. They grow through experience, through reflection, through moments that stretch your patience and strengthen your character. Every disappointment teaches something. Rejection teaches humility. Waiting teaches patience. Misunderstandings teach communication. Heartbreak teaches emotional awareness. Even silence teaches you how to rely on Allah instead of constantly relying on people. And slowly, without realizing it, your heart becomes stronger. You learn not to react immediately when emotions rise. You learn to pause before speaking. You learn to handle conflict calmly instead of emotionally. You learn that not every feeling needs an instant response. This emotional maturity is essential for any healthy relationship, because love is not just about happy moments. There will be stressful days, financial challenges, misunderstandings, family pressures, health issues. And a strong heart is what helps a relationship survive those moments. Allah, in His wisdom, sometimes trains you beforehand. You may also notice that after certain tests, your priorities change. Things that once upset you deeply no longer feel as important. Your tolerance increases. Your empathy grows. You understand people better because you have felt pain yourself. And this makes you gentler, wiser, and more compassionate. Tests also teach you reliance on Allah. When people disappoint you, you turn back to Him. When plans fail, you make dua. When emotions feel overwhelming, you find calmness in prayer. This connection with Allah becomes your emotional anchor. And that is powerful, because when your stability comes from Allah, not people, you enter relationships with balance. You love sincerely, but you do not lose yourself. You care deeply, but you remain grounded. Also remember, sometimes what looks like rejection is actually redirection. A door closing may have saved you from long-term pain you could not see. A delay may have aligned you with someone better suited for your faith, personality, and future. Allah sees the full picture. We see only moments. So if lately you have faced emotional tests, delays, or disappointments, do not rush to label them as bad. Ask yourself what they are teaching you. Notice how they are shaping your patience, your communication, your resilience, your trust in Allah. Because a strengthened heart is a prepared heart. And when a prepared heart finally holds another, it holds it with maturity, mercy, patience, and wisdom. That is the kind of love that lasts, the calm that comes when you truly trust Allah's timing. There comes a moment in this journey when something inside you finally settles. Not because everything has happened yet, not because all your du'as have been answered exactly how you imagined, but because your heart begins to trust Allah more deeply than before. And that trust brings a calm you cannot force. At first, waiting can feel restless. You check constantly. You compare your life with others. You wonder why things seem delayed. You question whether you missed an opportunity. These feelings are natural, and many people experience them. But as your faith grows, your perspective begins to change. you start understanding that Allah's timing is never random. It is always precise. He sees what you cannot see. He knows who will truly bring peace into your life and who may only bring temporary excitement, but long-term difficulty. When this understanding settles in your heart, anxiety slowly fades. You stop rushing outcomes. You stop forcing conversations. You stop trying to control every detail. Instead, you focus on what you can control: your character, your faith, your intentions, your personal growth. And you leave the rest to Allah. This does not mean you stop making dua. In fact, you may make more dua than before. But the tone changes. There is less panic and more peace, less urgency and more trust. You begin to believe deeply that what Allah has written for you cannot miss you, and what misses you was never truly meant for you. This belief removes a lot of emotional pressure. You no longer feel left behind when others move ahead. You no longer feel jealous of other people's timelines. You realize that every story is different, and Allah writes each one with wisdom. Some people receive something early, but face challenges later. Others wait longer, but receive stability afterward. Only Allah sees the full picture. Trusting His timing protects your heart from unnecessary stress. Also, when you truly trust Allah's timing, you stop settling out of fear. You don't rush into relationships just because you feel time is passing. You don't ignore red flags just to avoid being alone, because you know that forcing something outside Allah's timing rarely brings peace. And here is something many people notice. When the right person finally enters your life, it often feels calm, not chaotic, clear, not confusing, respectful, not secretive, halal, not complicated. You don't have to constantly chase reassurance. You don't have to compromise your values to keep them. There is dignity, honesty, and barakah in the connection, because what comes from Allah usually carries tranquility with it. And even if the exact timing is still unknown to you, the calm itself becomes a gift. You sleep easier. You think clearer. Your emotional balance improves. Your relationship with Allah deepens. You learn that peace is not only at the end of the journey. It can exist during the waiting too. So if lately you feel less anxious, less pressured, more trusting, more patient, don't mistake that for losing hope. It may actually be the strongest form of hope, because true hope is not demanding immediate results. True hope is believing that Allah is already arranging what is best, even when you cannot yet see it. And when that level of trust settles in your heart, you realize something beautiful. The weight itself becomes lighter. Your faith becomes stronger. And whatever Allah eventually writes for you arrives with a peace you could never have created on your own. So if your heart has been changing lately, don't panic. Don't think you are falling behind. And definitely don't think Allah has forgotten you. Sometimes the greatest sign that something beautiful is coming is the quiet work Allah is doing inside you right now. The patience you are learning, or the standards you are raising, the healing you are going through, the trust you are building. None of this is wasted. Allah is not just preparing someone for you. He is preparing you for someone. And when two hearts meet after Allah has refined them, protected them, and guided them, that connection carries a different kind of peace. Not just attraction, not just emotion, but barakah. So keep making dua. Keep improving yourself. Keep trusting His timing even when it feels slow. Because what Allah writes for you will never miss you. And when it finally arrives, you will understand why it had to happen exactly the way it did. And until that day comes, let your heart stay close to Allah That alone is already the greatest blessing